On a chilly February night in 2024, a Wisconsin police officer sat in his patrol car, parked near a bar and quietly working through paperwork. The night seemed uneventful until a commotion outside drew his attention. What initially looked like a typical bar scuffle quickly unraveled into something stranger. A heated physical dispute between a 53-year-old mother and her 21-year-old daughter, with the daughter's boyfriend caught in the middle trying, unsuccessfully, to pull them apart.
You're gonna get tased. Hold on, put your hands on your back.
No,
put your hands on your back.
Oh my God!
457, I'm behind Baba's.
Really?
I had one resisting.
I'm not resisting. Oh my God, you just got on to the fire and face. You just broke my jaw.
Give me another hand.
You just broke my jaw. Are you kidding me right now? Really?
Yep.
Really?
Now you're under arrest too.
Really? Because me and my daughter have an argument? Really?
457. Can I get rescue as well?
Can I stand up?
Yep.
Literally cannot
Go this
touch
way.
her. You can roll me that way, but you cannot.
Huh.
You cannot.
You want to switch up?
Yeah. You gotta be very,
Then tuck one of your knees.
The officer switched on his emergency lights and pulled up to intervene. But as soon as he stepped out, one of the women tried to walk away despite being ordered to stop. That was the first sign the situation wasn't going to be resolved with a few calming words. When the officer moved to detain her, she resisted, prompting a tense struggle. As she was being handcuffed, she shouted that her jaw had been broken, hurling accusations at the officer. The daughter and the boyfriend soon joined the scene, attempting to interfere with the arrest. The officer warned them repeatedly to back off or face charges themselves, but the pleas went ignored. The mother, still argumentative and physically combative, made matters worse by suddenly kicking an assisting officer in the leg. That sealed her fate. She was going to jail not just for resisting, but for assaulting an officer. Even after being restrained, the mother didn't calm down.
All right, ma'am, I need you to just back up.
You can go to jail.
Back up now. Now.
You stop!
Whoa.
Back up.
Like that!
Back up now. Back
Punch
up.
her like that!
She just kicked me. Back up, otherwise you're getting handcuffed right now.
You're gonna break my wrist. You're gonna break my wrist. Like that! You're gonna break my wrist.
Guys,
No, stay back.
No.
Stay back.
Literally
Stay back.
relax.
I will put you in
You're
handcuffs
hurting
right
her.
now.
I watched the whole
Back up.
thing.
Back
Hey,
up.
Call Mondo
Back
right
up
now.
right now.
Call my attorney right now.
Back up.
Go ahead. That's fine. Let's do
Dude,
it.
just-
Let's
no,
do
I'm
this.
not fighting.
I'm not fighting you.
Officers decided to use a wrap restraint device, a specialized piece of equipment designed to immobilize combative individuals for their own safety and that of the officers. But securing her proved challenging as she continued to thrash, protest, and accuse the officers of excessive force. Meanwhile, the daughter and father escalated their interference. The father objected to the way his wife was being handled, while the daughter yelled from nearby, refusing orders to stand back. Officers warned both repeatedly, but soon had to detain them too. What had started as a mother-daughter quarrel was spiraling into a full-blown family affair in custody. The daughter's own resistance to being handcuffed and separated only complicated things further. Officers explained that she was being detained for obstruction, but she continued to demand explanations and shout about her mother's treatment. She insisted she wasn't fighting, yet her actions, holding onto objects to avoid being moved, refusing to walk, and shouting over officers, told a different story. The officers tried to keep the situation from getting further out of hand, offering explanations about the use of the wrap restraint and promising to discuss the reasons for arrest later, once everyone had calmed down. The daughter claimed she was claustrophobic and repeatedly asked for her restraints to be loosened. Officers checked the fit, insisting there was enough room for a finger between the cuffs, but the arguments persisted. As the scene unfolded, multiple officers from different agencies coordinated to manage the three detainees. The mother was kept in the wrap due to her earlier kicks and continued resistance, while the daughter, though calmer than her mother, was still kept in cuffs due to her obstruction and refusal to comply during the initial contact. The father, after initially being detained, was eventually released with instructions to return to the hotel and avoid interfering further. Officers told him that his wife and daughter would likely be booked into jail, with the possibility of release later if they qualified for bond. Over the course of the incident, it became clear that what had started as a personal dispute between mother and daughter had turned into a public disturbance, serious enough to warrant multiple arrests. Officers described seeing the two women pushing each other outside the bar, and when they stepped in to assess the situation, resistance quickly escalated to physical assault on law enforcement. By the end of the night, the mother faced felony charges for battery or threats to a police officer, along with misdemeanor counts of disorderly conduct and resisting or obstructing an officer. The daughter was charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct and resisting or obstructing. Both were booked into jail and, within a day, released on bond, the mother on a $10,000 signature bond and the daughter on a $450 cash bond. Conditions of their release included total sobriety and a ban on entering taverns or liquor stores. Months later, the legal process concluded with sharply different outcomes for the two women. The mother ultimately entered a no-contest plea to the two misdemeanor charges, with the felony charge and other counts dismissed but read in for sentencing purposes. She was sentenced to either a fine or 10 days in jail and ordered to write a formal apology letter to one of the officers involved. The daughter's case ended more leniently. She reached a deferred judgment agreement on her single resisting, obstructing charge. If she met all the court's conditions for 12 months, the charge would be dismissed and she would avoid a conviction entirely. Looking back at the incident, it's almost cinematic in its escalation. An ordinary night, a family disagreement, and a chain reaction that spiraled into multiple arrests and felony charges. There were flashes of humor amid the shouting and chaos. Officers and suspects occasionally exchanged sarcastic remarks or awkward attempts at small talk. But those moments did little to soften the reality that the situation had crossed a line. The episode highlights how quickly things can turn serious when emotions run high. Alcohol is involved, and public disputes draw law enforcement into the mix. A family argument outside a bar might not seem like the kind of thing that ends with felony charges, but when resistance, assault on officers, and interference pile up, law takes a much stricter view. In this case, the officers repeatedly offered opportunities for the situation to de-escalate. They gave multiple warnings to step back, explained their use of restraints, and assured the arrestees that explanations would come once things were calm. But the combination of heated tempers, physical resistance, and accusations against officers made it impossible to resolve without arrests. The mother's combative behavior, particularly the kicks to an officer, became the turning point. While verbal protests and complaints about discomfort and restraints might be common during arrests, physical assault against law enforcement almost always leads to serious charges. The wrap restraint, though controversial to some who see it, is widely used by agencies to prevent harm to both suspects and officers in such situations. For the daughter, the night became a cautionary tale in how quickly trying to stand up for a family member can cross into criminal obstruction. By refusing to comply with lawful orders, physically resisting movement, and shouting over officers, she moved from being a concerned bystander to a participant in a criminal offense. The father's role was smaller, and in the end, he avoided charges, but his initial involvement and refusal to immediately separate from the scene nearly led him down the same path. His eventual cooperation likely played a key role in his release. As for the legal consequences, the mother's plea deal spared her the risk of a felony conviction, though the charges read in at sentencing mean the court considered the underlying behavior in determining punishment. The requirement to write an apology letter to the officer serves as a symbolic acknowledgement of wrongdoing, something courts sometimes impose to encourage accountability beyond fines or jail time. The daughter's deferred judgment is essentially a second chance. If she meets the terms, she'll avoid a criminal record from this incident. Such agreements are often used for younger defendants with limited criminal history, especially when their role in an incident is less severe than others involved. In the months after the incident, The story circulated in law enforcement circles and online communities focused on police work, partly because of its blend of family drama and public disorder, and partly because it's a textbook example of how minor disturbances can snowball. There's a clear takeaway for the public. No matter how right you believe you are in the heat of the moment, resisting police orders in a public disturbance, especially when physical contact is involved, can lead to far worse outcomes than simply explaining your side later in a calmer setting. In the end, what could have been a quiet night for both the family and the officers became an hours-long scene involving multiple agencies, specialized restraint devices, and a courtroom follow-up months later. The lessons may be obvious in hindsight. Walk away from heated moments, comply with officers in public settings, and save disputes for private spaces. But on that February night in Wisconsin, they were learned the hard way. And that's the wild story of how a simple family argument outside a Wisconsin bar spiraled into arrests, felony charges, and a courtroom drama months later. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more real-life cases broken down just like this, hit that like and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.